Welcome back. Welcome back to the Tutorium. My name is Katie, and today's pronunciation module is a continuation of last week's topic, which was sound creations. This is part 2, okay? So remember last time we talked about these sound creations, and we talked about, that's kind of my term. I like to keep things simple, but you may see the terms palatalization or coalescence. That is the same thing, okay? Sounds in contact, sounds coming in contact with each other in a specific context or a specific environment will create new sounds. A new sound will be created. Why? Why does this happen? This happens when there are some environments, it might be difficult to have two sounds right next to each other and preserve those sounds as they are. So one sound pulls the other sound closer to it. In this case, the sound doesn't become that other sound, it becomes something new. Okay, so we have two areas of our mouth. One sound is being made in a different area of the mouth. So it's basically pulling the first sound more closer to it, right? And it's creating a new sound as a result. So last week we looked at a couple of these and we're going to look at 2 more this week. All right, so let's get our trusty mouth. This picture's a little scary, I'm not going to lie, but it does a good job of clarifying things. So today we're going to start off, we're going to be talking about the sounds T and D. That's where we're starting. That's not where we're ending. Okay, because remember, we're creating new sounds. But we're going to start with this T and D sound. And T and D are made when the tip of your tongue touches and does touch and completely stop the air in your mouth because your tongue, the tip of your tongue touches that area right behind your teeth, that hard ridge. You can feel it with your tongue. Take a moment. Kind of feel that area with the tip of your tongue right behind your front teeth. And we can even make a T and a D sound. Go ahead. So t, t. You can feel the tip area of your tongue touching that hard ridge right behind your front teeth. And d, d. And these 2 sounds are made in exactly the same place in our mouth, but the difference between them, T, if you remember from our past module, is voiceless, and D is a voiced sound. So you're going to have vibration in your vocal folds when you make a D. All right, so that's where we're starting. We're starting with T and D. So let's talk about these sound changes and look at some examples. So T and D, like I said, they're made with the tip of the tongue. Your tongue touches the area behind your teeth. And when T and D sounds are followed by our trusty friend semi-vowel y, they become ch and j, respectively, meaning T becomes ch and D becomes j. Let's break down those new sounds a little bit more. So ch is the sound in words chew, child, butcher, clutch, and chill, to name a few. And j is the sound in the words joy, enjoy, judge. We have it twice in the word judge, at the beginning and the end, judge, and budget, okay? So those are our new sounds. Started with T, got ch, started with D, got j. Why? Why? Semi-vowel. What are you doing? So T and D, remember they're made there. Ch and j are made a little further back. Excuse me. They're pronounced a little further back in your mouth, in the middle area, kind of like directly on the roof of your mouth. Feel with your tongue. There's a really hard plate up there. That's called your palate. That's like a hard palate. You have a soft palate further back. These sounds are made in your hard palate. Okay, and they're made when the middle part, more the middle area of your tongue, or not exactly the middle, but certainly not the tip, a little bit further back on your tongue, that part of your tongue is touching that hard palate on the top of the roof of your mouth. Okay, let's practice. Say cha, cha, and ja, ja. Just like T and D, these sounds are made in exactly the same place. One is voiced, one is voiceless. Ch is our voiceless sound, and ja is our voiced sound. Why are they getting pulled back? Well, they're getting pulled back in your mouth because of that semi-vowel Y. That Y, if you make that sound, let's make it together. Yeah, yeah. That sound is even further back in your mouth. Okay, so T and D are way at the front of your mouth, and yeah is pretty far back in your mouth. So it's pulling the T and the D sound to somewhere in the middle, right? Which is ch and ja. So it's creating new sounds when these two sounds are right next to each other. It's pretty cool, actually, when you think about it. Okay, so let's look at some examples of our first sound change in action. We have t becoming ch. Let's look at our little dialogue here between A and B. What you doing? So you're thinking, Katie, that's grammatically wrong. And you're right. But this is how people talk. Native speakers often say, what you doing? Whatcha? What you doing, right? So that T has become a ch because of the Y, the y sound at the beginning of the word you. What you doing? Reading. Are you finished? Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. What you doing? Reading. Are you finished? Not yet. Okay. So that is our T-ch combo. Now we have our D to J or D to J change. Did you do anything last night? It's hard for me to say that without doing it, unless I say, did you do anything last night? Because whenever you put that together, you want to say, did ya? Did ya? Did you do anything last night? Did ya? Did ya? So that D is becoming a J because of the Y at the beginning of you. Did ya? Did you do anything last night? Yeah, I went out for dinner. Where'd you go? Now, instead of saying, where did you go? Which we could still say, where did you go? We don't really say it that clearly. More likely, you would say, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Instead of where did you go? Where'd you go? To that new Thai place I told you about. Told you about. Now remember, not only do we have our sound change here, but we also have a vowel link in the told you about. So it's just kind of one long I told you about. I told you about. That new Thai place I told you about. Told you. Okay, so these are our two sound changes. This is also two examples of palatalization, just like in our last module. Okay, we have that semi-vowel Y pulling our sounds closer to that vowel Y. And it is changing and creating a new sound as a result. So what now? Remember, this is my big time to get on, what should we do with this? So I don't want you to put a lot of pressure on yourself to produce these sound changes. Not to say that, if you really want to be able to do this, that's great, but I wouldn't make it, top priority. My main priority with these modules, this set of modules, is to raise your awareness of these sound changes in the hopes that it will help your listening skills. And by helping your listening skills, it will also help your conversational English. So when you find yourself in both formal and informal settings, because this will happen in both, right? Native speakers do these things all the time. So when you find yourself in these situations, you will hear the native speakers doing this, and you will be able to understand what they're saying and not be completely lost and like thinking, oh my God, all those words just squished together. Now, maybe the more you listen for them, your ear will be trained to kind of pull them apart and understand the message. And if over time you begin to use these in your own speaking, I think that's fantastic. But if you never do, that is completely okay, because you don't need them to be a clear speaker. All right. That is it for today's module. I want you to keep listening for these sound changes, and I will catch you next time.